Welcome to episode 1 of the Fun Fax Fazberino, the 2024 edition. So a few days ago I asked you for some fun facts. I wanted to see if you had any good ones, and now I'm going to put them all into one video here, and I'm going to be going over them. So the first one I want to go over is the Night Witches of World War II. This was the only all-female squadron in the entire Soviet Union. Basically, some high-ranking woman used her connection to Stalin to get him to approve 3 all-female squadrons. Now this was big because women were at the time barred from service in Soviet Air Force, and in the end only one of the 3 squadrons would end up being all-female, namely the 588. However, the Germans would become so scared of this squadron that they would not only name it the Night Witches, which I imagine in German that's probably something like Nachtwitches or something like that. I don't know how to speak German. This was not a well-funded squadron, okay? They flew in crop duster planes. They had no armour, no ammunition, no guns, no navigation system. They had to navigate using a pencil and a compass. The planes only had enough room for 2 bombs each. That way they, on average, had to make 8 bombing runs a night, just because they couldn't carry that many bombs. The record was like 18 runs in one night. They would fly in groups of 3, okay? 2 of the planes would act as a decoy, one of them would go drop the bombs, they'd cycle around and do that again until all 3 planes had dropped their bombs, and then they would go back and get more bombs and do it probably 7 more times that night. And each and every one of these women received the title Hero of the Soviet Union, which was a really high-ranking honour you could be received. However, they weren't allowed to fly in the Victory Parade because their planes were too slow. And actually, this might have worked to their advantage. The German guns were actually designed to pick up faster modern planes, or modern at the time anyway, so their slow planes were actually much harder to detect on the radar, and that meant the Germans couldn't pick them up easier. They also drew on their lips with navigation pencil rather than lipstick, and they painted their crop duster plane with flowers on them. So that was interesting, thanks for that guy. Whatever his name is. The next lot of fun facts I'm going to go over is these 5. The idea that the Anglo-Zanzibar War was 38 minutes long and it's the shortest war in human history. Now I'd just like to say this is kind of controversial. We actually disagree on when the Anglo-Zanzibar War started, okay? The British sent an ultimatum to the Zanzibaris telling them to surrender by 9 AM. And about 5 to 9 AM that same day, the British ordered their ships to prepare for battle, and some people put this as the start of the war. However, at 9 AM, 5 minutes later, when the ultimatum expired, the British ships were ordered to fight, to battle. However, they wouldn't open fire until 9:02 AM. So whichever one of these times you use, the battle could either be 45, 40, or 38 minutes long. But we also disagree on exactly when the battle starts. Each different ship's logs of the 5 British ships gives a different time for when the ceasefire happened. They put it at 9:35, 9:40, 9:41, 9:42, and 9:45 AM. The flagship put 9:35, so that's the one I might believe. Most historians put it sometime around 9:40 AM, so the battle lasted like 40 odd minutes. The other fun fact I'm interested in is the fact that the Roman Empire was declared in 27 BC and ended in 476 BC. Now, while the Roman Empire itself was declared in 27 AD, that doesn't mean Rome itself was founded. Rome was founded in the 700s BC, and they started conquering the Etruscans in the 500s BC, and the monarchy was overthrown also in the 500s BC. But then in the first century BC, a series of several civil wars began, which ended with Julius Caesar overthrowing the Roman Republic and declaring the Roman Empire. But then the Roman Empire got so big that they realised that it could never function. It was just way too large to function at that size, because remember, communication and transport technologies they were not as good as they were. Even 100 years ago, you had a train or you could send a telegram. But anyway, as I was saying, they decided that Rome was so large that it couldn't function as one state anymore, so they decided to divide it into 2 states, okay? Now, the Western Roman Empire would not last that long. Well, it's the same thing with the Anglo-Zanzibar War. The end is disputed, but most historians put the end of the Western Roman Empire at around 476. However, the Eastern Roman Empire would last until 1453. 1453 was the collapse of the Eastern Roman Empire. Finally, the end of the Roman Empire. So the Roman Empire lasted like 1500 years, of course. However, if you count that from the very beginning of the foundation of Rome, then the Roman character arc, let's call it, lasted like 2,100 years. It's amazing. He also said that the first ever Olympic Games were held in 776 BC in Greece. Yeah, no, that's true. The Greeks had the Olympic Games before this, and then we sort of restarted the Olympics Games in 1896. So I wanted to look up how long the Olympic Games actually lasted for, and it turns out the Romans and the Greeks did their own Olympic Games for over 1,000 years. I'm just saying, we don't have a chance, okay? There is absolutely no way in hell that the modern Olympic Games are going to go on for 1,000 years. Nobody respects them that much. But yeah, no, so the original Olympic Games lasted way longer than our current Olympic Games are going to last. He also mentioned that the Eiffel Tower was 13,000 miles long. Love that, that's amazing. And the Eiffel Tower was supposed to be a temporary exhibit, and thank goodness it wasn't a temporary exhibit. Imagine spending millions of francs to build this, only to take it down temporarily. Especially if all the tourism money you're probably making. That's probably why they decided to keep it up, because of the tourism. Thank goodness they kept it up, you know? I mean, it is a waste of time going. I don't understand why anybody would ever want to visit the Eiffel Tower. But, you know, props to France for keeping it up and taking advantage of all that tourism money. Final fun fact from a guy called Fizzy Juice Cool. He said that 1889 was the birthday of Hitler, the Eiffel Tower, Nintendo, and Margherita Pizza. And as way, I believe 3 out of those 4 things. I believe you when you say that Hitler, Nintendo, and the Eiffel Tower were born on all of those days. But as for the idea that Margherita Pizza, absolutely not. You're telling me that nobody had ever put cheese, tomato, and fresh basil on a pizza until 1889. No, that was clearly just the first guy to publish his findings, okay? I hope nobody got a patent on that, because I cannot imagine having the sheer audacity to get that painted. You're telling me that no one had ever done that before. Alright, well, thanks for all 3 of those comments. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. Thank you to Fizzy Juice Cool, Carl Toner Scarf 7694, and Geomaniper for 3 amazing comments. Hopefully I'll have more than 3 comments when I do this again next year, because I do plan on doing this pretty much every year for the rest of my life.